9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Hour. We actually don't have too much going on today, which is a shocker for us, right? Because we always seem to go over an hour. Aaron, we do have some hockey, though. I have a hockey name. You have multiple hockey names. So I'll let you start first, kind of explain who Backus and Oshie are for our viewers that aren't familiar with hockey or aren't familiar with those two in particular.
Yeah, kind of a cool night for two former St. Louis Blues players. Last night, David Backus plays probably what is going to be his last game in the NHL, certainly his last game in St. Louis. Former Blue, like I said, he did wear the C for the Blues, the captain for 5 years. He did a lot for the city of St. Louis as well, and continues to do so, actually. It was a kind of emotional night for him, his last game in the NHL. And then TJ Oshie gets a hat trick last night against the New York Rangers. And significance there, his father passed away a couple days ago, and this was his first game since his father's death. He gets a hat trick. So pretty amazing. Couple of former Blues who used to be favorites of mine, still are guys that I pull for. Good guys, had big nights last night.
Yeah, for me, Tom Wilson. If you guys want to look this one up, just go to Tom Wilson and put that into Google or Twitter or your whatever search engine you use, and you'll kind of understand why. He basically was punching guys on the ice head down. It wasn't suspended for it. And mind you, he's been suspended on a multitude of occasions prior to. He's one of the dirtiest players in the NHL. And I'm not the biggest NHL fan on this panel right now between Aaron and I. Aaron's a bigger NHL fan. But when I was attempting to watch the Rangers Capitals last night, I was so intrigued to see what would happen. A full-on line brawl, 3 fights. I believe they had 6 within the first 2 minutes, and maybe 130 penalty minutes. Multiple game misconducts, multiple 5 and 10-minute penalties. I haven't seen anything quite like that in a long time, and it probably would have been solved if Tom Wilson just got a game suspension, or if the Washington Brass said, you know what, it's probably not a good idea to play him tonight, which they could have done also. I get he's one of your better players, but for the sake of the league and for the sake of your team, probably would have been a better idea. Both are Minnesota boys. I guess he's referring to Backus Oshie. Definitely not Tom Wilson. I don't believe he's a Minnesota boy. So some hockey notes. Aaron, there is one other thing I want to mention before we do our normal preview today. We didn't preview yesterday, but I did really enjoy our conversation. So everyone, thank you guys for that. But I did want to share our guest for tomorrow. I figured I would do that now while everyone's kind of bright and early. It's going to be Denonymous Dan. Dan, I don't know. I think it's to Jordman. I hope I said that right. But he is the ABR correspondent. He does the Equine Convention. He's a member, and this is his profile here. He's going to be on with us tomorrow. He hosts a lot of live streams as well, and he's come on live streams before. He's had Mike Somich on before. He's actually going to be on the Magic Mike show today, taking Magic's place as well. So, Aaron, it was a little ironic that I asked him to come on, and he's like, oh, I think I'm also coming on with one of you guys Thursday. And then I put 2 and 2 together and said I forgot Magic can't come on. What do you think of Dan coming on? He's going to be previewing Belmont with us tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no, Dan for a long time. Great guy. One of the good guys in racing. A lot of media members in racing were not the biggest fans of, but Dan is definitely one we are a huge fan of. Yeah, he's always been extremely nice to us. He's a good guy. I guess I might have to hire him for a couple of days. He's coming on all these shows. He's going to probably want some money for this work he's having to do. So, yeah, it's cool. He'll be on later today with Mike. Make sure to check that out. And then tomorrow morning with us. So, yeah, Dan's a good guy, really good guy.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what they're covering, but they always cover a weekend sequence. So I assume they're going to be covering Saturday's card. When Dan comes on, I kindly asked for him to preview Friday's card. Hopefully he didn't get him confused, but he's a good enough handicapper. He can switch it up on the fly, like some of us do once in a while. So yes, he's going to come on tomorrow, which is really, really exciting. He'll be our second guest on. Aaron, we go for big guests. Right. Well, that's not true. We've had Mike and Mike and Magic and Jared's come on as well. But when we bring on guests outside of the umbrella, we try to shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars. So Dan will be coming on. That's going to be great. He's excited. We're excited. So that's going to be fun. But Aaron, we'll hop right into it. Right. I mean, we don't have a lot to preview. Again, I don't think Joel Rosario. I try to avoid Joel Rosario just from a personal standpoint. If you heard my rant yesterday, but unfortunately, his horses are usually good that he hops on. One thing to note, though. Special post time today at Belmont. They're going to be starting at 3 p.m. This is a summer thing or a spring thing. I guess we're still in spring. Something that they do quite often. They used to do it at Saratoga. Aaron and I were talking about it, but you could see the first post is at 3:05. Sorry, 3:05. So that means we'll be starting our sequence in race 6. But having said so, that's going to really be around 5:40, 5:45. So it's going to be pretty late. On the East Coast, you're probably eating dinner as you're looking to connect on this pick 4. Aaron, I'll start with you. We have a maiden special weight event. And mind you, folks, we don't have any scratches or changes at the moment as well, other than MTO staying out. So at the moment, in race 6, the 7, I Am the Law, is an MTO, and that will be the only one we have out as of now. So we're just going to play it like all the horses are going to be in. We don't really have another choice. So, Aaron, I'll start with you. We have a maiden special weight for 3-year-olds and up. We're going 1 3/8 miles on the turf. Aaron, they'll be hitting the stretch twice. Essentially, we're going to be going 11 furlongs on the turf here. Where did you go to kick us off?
Yeah, I thought this was one of the more challenging races in the sequence. I thought race 7 was a little tougher, but race 6 here, definitely tough. A 1 3/8 on the turf, always a tough distance, especially when you're talking about maiden special weights. So I kind of kept it simple. I thought about playing an exacta or a try. I really don't like to play an exacta unless I've got 2 pretty strong opinions, and I didn't have that. And for the try, it's like, yeah, I could see kind of some weird horses getting in underneath here that I couldn't have gotten to. So I kept it simple to kick us off. I went $10 to win on the number 3 Royale. I really think this horse is bred for this distance, first and foremost. Like I do think he's one that is going to handle it pretty well. He showed pretty good improvement from his first race to his second race last time out for Christophe Clement. The layoff does have me a little bit worried. I do like that Rosario gets aboard. Sorry, Ricky, but I am going to play Rosario jumping aboard here as a good sign. When these two with Clement and Rosario hook up, it's usually a pretty good situation. So, yeah, I went with the 3 with a $10 win wager, top pick. Another horse that I am kind of interested in seeing what he does today is the number 6 Snows Island. This is another horse that has pretty good breeding for going long. He actually went 1 1/8 on the turf on debut, and we talked about this a lot on the show a few weeks ago about, going that long on debut, always tough. So I think we could see some improvement out of the 6. I like the 6-1 odds. So number 6, Snows Island, my second choice. Like I said, I think he'll show some improvement second time out here on the turf and second time out going long.
So I marked down a lot of horses that I thought were intriguing, but I did want to cut it off. Obviously, you're going with Royale, and I can't blame you for that. The only reason why I didn't just keep it short, and not the Rosario factor, on a serious note, it's just not to ask a horse to go 11 furlongs off a layoff like this is really, really tough. The Dynaformer and the European pedigree suggests that it shouldn't be an issue. But I think, we kind of saw with domestic spending, that layoff is tough for anyone. And domestic spending, I'm pretty sure, would beat all these horses by about 20 lengths. it's just incredibly tough to do. And mind you, that's a stakes winner. This is all horses, literally non-winners of a race. That's what a maidens is, non-winners of one. So I think that horse makes sense, but at 3-1, I think you can get a little fancy and go other ways. How about the 4, Prayer Book? I really like this horse. He kind of seems like he's getting better and better. Now, the problem that comes up, if you look at his debut, first of all, Win From Within and Floor Form Crew Dragon, okay, fine. That's one of the better maiden special weight races on the turf. So we can kind of eliminate that. Then gets a little bit better. Runs 6 by 7 3/4, but 4 or 5 wide into the turn, like the entire way was wide. Then gets the dirt. Don't know what that was. Then takes a massive step forward, finishes second by a neck to Title Forces. Now, granted, in the day on the dirt race, faced a horse named Ghazali. I think I said that right. That horse is supposed to be like the second coming of Curlin at this point. I don't know if that last race where he finished was second was what we're going to see from him, or if that was the chance for him to win. That's where this thing gets dicey, right? Because he has shown progression. Again, throw the dirt race out. He showed a lot more speed. Why was that the case? Maybe Irad Ortiz was a lot more patient, which doesn't seem like it. That's Irad's forte. He's pretty aggressive. Edgar Zayas must have gotten a call to just go for it and see what happens, and he almost got the job done. Luis Saez is also aggressive, so I'm going to take a shot. I have a feeling this horse is going to run well, and we know these turf races at Belmont. They can get real slow, so I kind of want a horse on the lead, and to your point about Royale, he doesn't look like he's got any sort of speed. Snow's Island, who I also use, doesn't have any sort of speed. Let's move on to a horse that Irad Ortiz will hop on. He was on Canas Quay, the 9, long time ago here at Belmont. Long time ago in the debut. Has got, obviously, we think can go the distance by Flincher, Empire Maker. That would suggest that turf distance pedigree as well. But Aaron, this horse comes from Tampa. And if you follow the sport, which I'm not saying you, but if people, listening or watching follow the sport, Chad Brown's better runners tend to go to Gulfstream. Now, it's not to say they can't be good from Tampa, but more times than not, his better horses are in Hallandale Beach as opposed to Tampa. So at the 9 post, 7-2, I guess we'll be breaking really from the 8 with the MTO. I think this was a short price that I was willing to exclude just because of the price, and I'm very skeptical of how talented this horse actually is.
He's a weird one. I would throw him in if I were playing your style just because of the connections. And, the horse really hasn't performed poorly in those 2 races at Tampa. It's just the fact that it's weird that he's there. I totally agree. And it's one thing if you see a brown horse and he ran once at Tampa and you kind of look at the date and go, oh, that was Sam F. Davis Day, or, oh, that was Tampa Bay Derby Day. That's different. But these were just, a couple of starts, regular days. I don't know what to make of it either. I'm very curious to kind of see what happens with him, but you would think he's got a world of talent, right? I mean, this is a Juddmonte homebred with great, great breeding. So, and is bred to go the distance as well. So all the signs are kind of there, but that is a one glaring thing that those races at Tampa, it's just like, that's weird that horse was there. And on the Naira circuit at Belmont on debut got smoked, and then went to Aqueduct to run in a turf race, and at 1.16 and got 4th. Wasn't awful, but wasn't great either. So maybe this horse is just kind of average. That's why I didn't put him to win. I was same way. Those Tampa races are just kind of strange.
For me, I guess the reason I exclude him, and everything you said is accurate, and I don't dispute anything you just said. I pretty much agree. But it's also kind of like, every time Chad Brown and Irad are going to hook up on a turf horse, especially when we don't know, you're going to take a short price.
Yep.
It's kind of like you got to take a stand somewhere. And I always try to tell people, yes, Chad Brown's winning at 28%, but that also means he's losing at 72%. So, obviously that seems like a logical and stupid thing to say, but it's like you got to take a shot somewhere, right? And if he's not going to get it done at Tampa, I'm just not sure that he's going to come up to Belmont and get it done either. The also thing that's interesting, Aaron, he had a chance to maybe bring this horse to Keeneland. Didn't try that.
Yep.
Because if you run him at the beginning of the Keeneland meet, the timeline makes sense. We'll say April 10th. I don't know. April 9th. We'll pick a day. Then comes here. Didn't do that. This horse now hasn't run in, we're going to be approaching close to 2.5 months.
Yep.
It just seems like there are a lot of signs. Obviously, we didn't use this horse, but I thought a lot of people would have liked to talk about it. Let's see if there's anyone else. The other horse I wanted to talk about was the 2, Summer Silence, just because this horse gets back to the turf. I'm not sure if he's good enough, but I'll take a horse that finished 4th by 4 once on the turf, as opposed to Connors Quay, who's 7-2, going to be probably more like half the price, if not more. I don't see Connors Quay. I see Connors Quay probably being the favorite in here. To me, I would take a shot with the 2 if I had to pick a 4th horse.
I don't hate the 2 either. It's kind of one of those things we talk about it all the time. Why only one race on the turf? Well, in this situation, this horse ran pretty decent on the dirt. So I get, that next race, they put him on the dirt. He ran 3rd to Unbridled Honor, who was pointing for the Preakness, so a pretty decent horse. It does kind of make sense that we try that dirt race again. And now when we fail as a 3-5 favorite, let's go back to the turf. I think it makes sense. I'm with you. If you want to take a price, I think the 2 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I just don't. I'll be brutally honest. I think taking a short price in a race like this is borderline stupid. Sorry. Like, that's just me. Nick says that in race 7, the 5 scratched, and race 9, 10 scratched. Maybe those are MTOs. I haven't even scrolled down yet. We're going to get to it right now, actually, right with race 7. I guess we have announced scratches from maybe.
I'll look that up here. Let's see.
Aaron will look that up. I'll introduce. If there are out there, please share them with us so we could try to adjust on the fly. I just thought it would be a little early because the first post time is not till 3.
Yeah, the scratches are out. So the 5. Okay, so the 6th race, the 7th is out. That's the MTO. The 7th race, number 5 is out. The 8th race, number 1 is out. And in the 9th race, the 2, the 8, and the 10. So there's
okay.
The 9th, the 2, the 8, and the 10. So yeah, you'll have to adjust on the fly a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to adjust.
As will I.
So we'll roll along with it, but I'm probably gonna add another horse now to the other race. So we'll see. We'll try to keep this. Bear with us. Was that with Andy Serling, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Andy Serling just tweeted those out.
So shout out to Belmont for doing it early, but it also kind of poses an issue for us as well. All right, well, we'll try to push through. Aaron will make some adjustments. I'll try to make some adjustments on the fly. I'll start here though. Claiming 1,000, race 7, claiming 20,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, going 6.5 on the main track. I thought Baby Boss is really the horse to beat, right? Rob Atris, new barn. Has been in Rudy's barn, has been in Kelly Breen, Jamie Ness, bunch of solid claiming barns. Gets Manny Franco aboard again. Has shown speed against allowance optional claiming types of fields. The last time she was in a claiming race, she won at Parks. You know who also won at Parks? Bourbonic. Bourbonic came to win the Wood Memorial, so maybe Parks isn't as bad. I don't know. Nonetheless, this horse has just been running against better, and I don't mind seeing so many claims, Aaron, because that means they could look as like what I call a one-time strike. It's like, all right, we're going to claim, we're going to make some money, and we'll move on. And the fact that this horse is in allowance optional claiming and continues to get claimed, to me, means that she still could be profitable and still could cash a check. Obviously, 2 very, very, very important things. I used the 5, so I'm going to have to. I didn't actually use the 5 in this race, so I can keep that for now. The 6 I used, and that was Midtown Rose. I thought the 4 is much the best, but I thought Midtown Rose was interesting coming from Gulfstream, where Saffy Joe has the majority of his horses. This just kind of seems like an IRAD effect to me. I got to be honest with you. I'm not really sure what to do with her because she was dreadful for a while, but under Safi Joe, she did win. So then she goes to Jose D'Angelo. Not great. Then Safi Joe tries her against allowance optional claiming. There just seems like there are too many questions. But there's a question with the 4. Why are we dropping this horse in for a 20,000 tag? Now, granted, the purse is a huge reason why. $48,000 purse for a 20 tag essentially means you're going to get 20,000 if she wins, right? We'll play, positive. It's right. I think it's right. 60%, Aaron.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're looking at what, like 28,000 off the top of my head, 30,000, something like that. Mm-hmm. Plus the 20 tag, that's 50K. That's pretty solid. So I understand why, and she should be the favorite. But I went the 4 and 6. I went chalk here. It's not because I love the 6. I'm just really not entirely sure what to do with her. And Safi Joe has had success in the past. So that's where I went. But I'm really relying on the 4. I think Baby Boss is just multiple lengths better than this group if she runs her best race. So that's where I went, 4 and 6 here in race 7.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing some adjusting on the fly right now because I had a try here, and now with just 7 horses, I don't want to do that. Plus, one of my horses was out. I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm with you on Baby Boss. I think you have to use Baby Boss. I'm gonna still take a shot. I'm gonna take a little bit of a price here. I had the 5 on top. I'm gonna move the 1 Violent Trick on top here. I'm just kind of thinking, this horse has consistent races. He's kind of a Ricky P horse as far as, he just is usually there, or I guess I should say she is usually there with a shot. I like the 6.5 furlongs. I like the cutback here. I think that's going to help this horse. I definitely would use Baby Boss. I'm going to put that horse in second now. But I don't know. I still think this horse is he's just kind of ripe for an upset a little bit. We haven't seen this horse run all that well the last couple of races. I don't really love horses coming out of the Rudy Rodriguez barn. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think they have a tendency to kind of drop after that. But listen, it's a huge drop in class. The horse does look like Lone Speed now that the 5 is out. So there's plenty of reasons, but I'm just going to go short. I'm going to go $5 win wager here on the 1 horse here in the 7th race, and I'm going to scratch out that try. So I will do that now.
Yeah, so I actually included, when Aaron puts it back up, you guys will see. I included that 2 horse from race 6. I'm going to play against Chad Brown, and hopefully I can get by. I took a bunch of shots, and I think we'll be trying to get the favorite. The 1 Violent Trick is interesting. That race was really just a merry-go-round race, and then Eric Consell did whatever he could to try to get her to the outside and make a final push, going 3 wide at the quarter pole. But then some of those races, and then you go back to the Linda Rice race. Linda Rice, that's a play on words. February 8th at the 16,000 level, and she wasn't bad. So I'm not sure I don't know who Edward DeLauro is. Probably shouldn't have been in the AOC or that stakes race. I'll be the first to admit. The fact she even went off at 8-1 in an allowance optional claiming 62,500 is incredible because does not belong there. The fact average she comes in to this one at 8-1. What does that what does that tell you?
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, I get what you mean by that. Yeah, the 8-1 is kind of but listen, kind of should be 8-1, and I get what you mean. It's just kind of like, yeah, hadn't been great. But I don't know. I just feel like there's going to be an upset here. I just don't trust Baby Boss. That's what it's all about. It's one of those horses that we talk about a lot. Yeah, you got to use them, no doubt. But it's just like, yeah, I could see that horse getting to the lead, looking like he's going to win. She's going to win, and just kind of, faltering. Like, I can see it happening, but we'll see. I mean, I definitely think the 5 being out changed the complexion of the race, because that was the other speed in this race. And you kind of look at it and think, well, the 4 and the 5 kind of could have dueled, and then we could have seen something weird happen. So somebody else is going to have to step up and take the race to the 4. There's no question, and we'll see if anybody can do it. And if not, maybe she just gallops around there for fun.
Yeah, and we'll see, right? I think there are a lot of question marks with this field. Let's move on to race 8, allowance optional, claiming 45,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. New York bred condition here. Going 6 furlongs on the Widener turf. Aaron, I will let you go here. Kick us off in race 8.
Yeah, right. This is like the best race of the day, I think, at Belmont. This is going to be pretty competitive. I really like the number 4 Silky Blue, so I put the win wager on Silky Blue. To me, this horse just last time out looked very, very good at Aqueduct in a similar spot, going 6 furlongs on the turf. Got beat by Gotta Go Mo, who's a pretty nice horse, but I like the horse has tactical speed, doesn't have to have the lead, but can sit close enough. I don't see a ton of speed in this race for a sprint stakes or for a sprint allowance. Going 6 furlongs on the turf, you usually see a few more speed balls. I don't see a mini here. So I think this horse, the tactical speed is going to come into play and be a big advantage. I love that Manny Franco rides right back here for this horse. And so I think this filly's going to look pretty good. I've got the $10 win wager on the 4. Another one that I'm interested in that's kind of a little bit of a price is the 6 Screaming By. Comes out of that same race. The only problem is in that race got a little bit too far behind. If we can get a little better start for this horse, I can see the 6 Screaming By making some noise.
Yeah, these horses aren't all that different, right? But Screaming By lost to Silky Blue, who finished second, so 3 lines back there. I'm gonna go a few different ways here. By the way, the 1 is scratched. That's the MTO. Fight on Lucy. MTO was not going to make the field. The weather's beautiful, so no MTOs will be in today. I'm going to put Violent Point on top. I think if you look at these races, and I don't talk about this angle a ton because I don't really believe in it, but Aaron, when you kind of look at this field, right, I think they're all really talented, but I'm not sure anyone stands above the rest. So you kind of put that thought into your mind, and now we kind of like the Derby, post position becomes a big thing. I think breaking from the outside is going to be huge for Violent Point because there won't be any speed to the immediate outside. The next time you really find some speed is potentially the 4 or the 5. The 3 has some speed, and I'll get to it. But Violent Point should break from the lead and be able to go right to the lead and cut down. I think she won't have to work. If you look last time out, had to fight the rail, then moved out, and then weakened. And at 10-1, this spot seems a lot easier. And I think this is going to be a big race for her. This is probably my best play of the sequence. If I had to single a horse, this would probably be where I went. I did use Silky Blue. Everything you said is right. Manny Franco coming back to ride, I think that's extremely important, and really ran a winning race last time out, just lost by a line. The other horse that I used I thought was interesting is a 3, Impassable Donna. Kendra Carmouche has done a fantastic job. I also think breaking from the 3 with no speed to the inside, the 2 is not very good as far as I'm concerned, other than the fact Junior Alvarado is back, coming off an injury. So I'm happy to see him back at Belmont. I think this horse is pretty solid. And Aaron, this is your angle. First time turf. I don't know. That speed should get enhanced. If you're a horse with no speed, I don't like that. If you're going to get speed and now you're going to go to the turf, Kendra Carmouche is more than good enough to get the horse to the lead. And I think 8-1 is decent. Aaron, you took a little bit of a price with Screaming By, but I think the 3 is not that much worse. And she's run well in this spot. It's not like she can't compete, but she did it on the dirt. That's why I'm getting 8-1, right? Because I don't really know how she's going to take to the turf. I'm not entirely sure, but I know there should be speed. So that was my third horse. I went 3, 4, and 8 in this spot.
Yeah, I agree with those 3. What about the 5, the important one? I thought this horse was it was just a weird entry is how I would describe it. Haven't seen this horse in a while. at one time this filly was pretty decent, one at this level and at this track, at this distance as well. And then just kind of, I don't know, just kind of sucked really the next 3 races. Did you consider the 5 at all? Because I thought with Jose Ortiz jumping on, it's kind of like, maybe the horse just needed a little bit of a break and could come back and fire with a decent race here.
I just don't. I think if we're talking at this time last year, I'm with you. I just don't like the form she's in. I really, really don't. And to be brutally honest, at this spot last time out, which was in October, she was terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like I can't get that out of my head. I just can't. I mean, there's nothing about that race that makes her good enough to win here. Now, in a sprint like this, you cannot afford to take a bad step. You cannot afford to be late. You can't afford to miss the break. She doesn't have the best early speed. She hasn't shown that at all on the turf. And I prefer a better closer. To be honest, like I prefer a horse like the 4, Silky Blue, who's going to show the ability to come off. I'd rather have Screamin' By, who I'm not using, but that I'd rather have, is this the perfect Steve Asmussen, Jose Ortiz duo? Sure. I'm not going to debate you on that. I just prefer going in a better situation. And Steve Asmussen does not have a lot of horses in New York. And I found over time his horses tend to not be as good when he ships to New York. Doesn't mean they're bad. Just unless we get to Saratoga and we have a legitimate horse, no interest here. In October 2nd to May 6th now, no, I have no interest. Anyone else you wanted to talk about before we moved on?
Yeah, that was the only one that I had that you didn't there. So no, other than that, I would be kind of surprised if any of the other ones win. But the thing about Asmussen's true. It seems like, forget about Saratoga. Everybody shoots for Saratoga, but I don't know why he really messes with New York when it's not Saratoga, because you're right. There are horses like this where it's like, I don't really know what to do with that horse. And he'll sneak up and win one every once in a while for sure, but you never really know what to do with them at Aqueduct and Belmont.
Yeah, and over time you're going to get burned like that. To me, if you're going to just continue to take Asmussen in New York, that's fine. But I think over time you're going to get burned. Oaklawn or Kentucky, I think you're in a much better spot. Let's move on to race number 9, 7:15 post. So that is not a typo. That's when they'll be going off. Claiming 40,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, going 6 furlongs on the inner turf. All right, it's my turn. Things changed a little bit with the scratch of the 10, I believe, right? Beautiful Karen, I believe, is out. That's what that was the second horse I used, actually, 10-1. I'll start with Xerenia, and here's why. She looks like a little bit of a different type of filly as a 4-year-old. And Aaron, I looked through the rest of this field, and I just didn't love it. I looked at it and I said, does she have the ability to win 2 in a row? Now, it's a tough ask. I would have liked to see her at the 20,000 level, 30,000 level, 35, whatever, something lower than 40. But I'm not sure that she can't do it. And that's, granted, 3-1, it kind of indicates that. But I really try to go with different horses that are 0 for 5, then win, then try to have them win again. I just think that's a tough ask. But I really am bullish on her. Again, in these types of sprints, she's done okay. At this spot, maiden claiming spot, last October, she finished 2nd. Maiden claiming 40, sprinting again on the turf, wins. This just seems to be where she's best. I do believe it's a race where you need to go deep. Mind you, there's another scratch, the 8, Master of Hope. So the 8 and the 10, 8 is an MTO. The 10 is an actual scratch. I'll leave it there because I kind of want to hear what you think. And then I'll talk about the other horses.
No, I'm with you on Xerenia. I think this is the horse to beat. So $10 win wager on her here. Listen, I think 6 furlongs is her game for sure. We got to see it last time out. I thought she looked really good. Luis Saez gets aboard. I don't think you can overstate that fact. That's excellent. And it just kind of has, like you said, looks a little bit different this year compared to last year. Even her first race of the season, it was a mile on the turf, which like I said, I really think 6 furlongs is what she wants to do. She got 6, but she only got beat 2 lengths, and she had a terrible start in that race. She got way too far behind, and still ran up, only beaten 2 lengths there. So I thought that was a sneaky good race. So I put her on top. I thought she made a whole lot of sense here. Other ones that I think, though, could have a shot, a horse that, and you might think I'm crazy here, but if you're playing like a trifecta, I would put the 12 Appreciate in it. I'm not saying this horse would win. I'm not telling you to use this horse at all. I don't know. This horse just kind of has the look of one that gets out, mid-pack, stays there. If enough horses come back to her, I think she can pass them and kind of hit the board here. She's spotty for sure. There's no question, but I think she gets a decent trip and setup from the outside. I thought the 12 could hit the board at a big price. I see you use the 5 days humor first time on the turf. I thought that was kind of an interesting angle. I think it's interesting that Carmouche is on the 5 and he was also on the 4. So did he choose the 4? Did they kind of tell him, hey, you're going to have to ride the 5 because we got Saez on the 4? You never really know when the Aqueduct jockey colony meets up with these guys that have been at Gulfstream and now they're at Belmont, the bigger guys. So you don't really know what happened there. But the 5 is definitely interesting from the fact trying turf for the first time and has early speed and has got a speed rider in Carmouche. So those were kind of the 3 that I was most interested in. I also would throw in the 11 just like you did as well. Connections and just kind of a horse second off the layoff. We might see a pretty good effort.
I respect everything you just said. I can never get to the 12. There's no way. There is no way I can get to that horse. I'd have to hit the all button. First of all, 15-1 is short odds. I expect you to see with a 2, which means a 20 or higher. That's just my opinion. I say that horse goes off at 20-1 or higher. Yeah. I'm pretty firm in that. Not only I like Trevor McCarthy, but John Toscano Jr. is not good. I'll just leave it at that. Now, mind you, there aren't the biggest trainers in the world in this race. There are no Pletchers, Chad Browns, Clements, things like that. That's fine. I just couldn't get to that horse. Also, if you're going to break from the 12, which I guess won't really be the 12, it'll be more like the 2, and the 2 is out. Oh, so maybe more like the 9. So the post isn't really as bad. I want to see some speed, though. Like, I got to see something. And I'm not sure if this horse has any tactical speed, which leads me to believe he's going to be last. You're right. You would need a pace meltdown. And I just can't get there. I'll leave it at that. I'm with you, though, on the 11. I think the horse went, maiden. Okay. Again, I'm not a trainer, but you don't win at maiden claiming 40 by a half a length and go into an allowance race. Don't understand that move at all. No surprise, the horse is 61-1. And then drops down to the claiming 30. It was okay. And now going to get Irad, who's better than Manny Franco. I think everyone would admit that. So this is a good spot, right? And it has a little tactical speed, at least. If you throw that race out, the allowance race, this horse sits between 3rd and 5th, and that's good enough. How about the 9, Corey Scores? I wasn't sure what to do with this horse because the last race, again, 30,000, lost to a few others in here, but it was wide throughout. Maybe she's going to be wide again. The race before that was over a yielding turf course against allowance runners. I don't really expect her to do much there. And then the race before that, when she was running for Brad Cox, final race before, finishes 3rd by 4 lengths at the 40,000 level over this, here at Belmont. So I think that's one that I want to include as well. You talked about the 5 first time turf. That was an allowance race, mind you. I think if she just repeats that effort, she's going to win. She's got a strong shot to win. I don't know why that horse is 8-1. There's something I'm missing, or I don't know, because that horse has already proven that the class is there, just not the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she got a little bit worse on this surface, that's probably still good enough to compete and potentially win. And I'll take 8-1. Let's talk about one final horse, and that's the 7, Ava's K Girl. Ava's K Girl beat Corey Scores last time out. They've beaten some other ones in here as well. Beat Appreciate. For me, what was the excuse last time out? That's where I'm at. I get 8-1, but in the race before that, finishes second. That kind of seems like a bounce to me, because if you look at these group of 6, which I do, boy, she was not close. So I hope she takes money. I don't know how much she will, but no interest in there for me. What do you think about that horse?
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I never really considered that one either. I just don't like a horse that just gets blown out as much as this horse does, and I listen, you get blown out of race, something happens, it's just like, well, something weird happened and what can we do? But okay, let's take the group of 6 for an example. Beaten 6 3/4, beaten 5 3/4, beaten 5, beaten 21. Like I said, the one race there, second, beaten 3/4. So that's the outlier, because it goes right back 7th, beaten 7 3/4. Like, she's not ever close to winning except for that one time. And I don't think it's going to happen today for her. I'm with you. I did not consider the 7 at all. Yeah, but I considered the 12 and you didn't. So maybe I'm crazy too, but I think the 12 can outrun the 7, to be honest.
That's fine, but that's I don't know how much that's really saying, right? but you're right, potentially. The only case I can make for the 7 is Manny Franco gets a board. That's about it. Yeah. And Manny Franco was a board last summer at Saratoga. But that's it, Aaron. I don't think we have a lot else to discuss. We'll recap our info, though, just because of the scratches and things like that. So I will go first. I went 2, 3, 4, 6 in the opener, which is race number 6. I'm really, really bullish on the 2 potentially. I'm really bullish on the 4 potentially, and I'm going to try to play against Chad Brown on the turf. That could be the key for me. Then I have the 4 and 6. I think Baby Boss is one of the better plays in the sequence. And I went 3, 4, 8 in race 8. Look for Impassable Donna, I should say, to break sharply on the turf. If she does, she can show some speed, run well also. And then I went 4, 5, 9, 11. The advice I would say there is take as many shots as you want. It's a claiming field. It's not the best claiming field of all time. So that's where I went. That ticket is $48.
Yeah, I think that's a solid ticket. So for me, all win wagers, I had a trifecta, and then scratches kind of screwed that up. So race 6, I'm going to go number 3 Royale. I just think this horse is sitting on a pretty good race. Here I know the layoff is a little lengthy, but Christophe Clement definitely one I can trust to get him ready. Race 7, listen, number 4 Baby Boss, squarely the one to beat. I'll just take a small shot with number 5, with the number 1 horse, Violent Trick, just $5 to win. Hoping the Baby Boss just doesn't show up today. Coming out of the Rudy Rodriguez barn, sometimes first out after that barn, that can happen. Race 8, $10 to win on the 4 Silky Blue. Just feel like this horse is coming into the race pretty well. Ran a winning race last time out, just barely lost. And then race 9, $10 to win on the 4 Zorinia. Won last time out. Think she can wheel right back here and do it again. Let's see. The ticket says $42 total. I did not update that. It actually is $35.
Oh, there you go.
And there you go. $35 total.
Yeah, save yourself $7.
Right. Yeah.
But that's going to do it for us today. We again, not too much to cover. Again, mind you, 3:05 post at Belmont today. If you guys are interested, 5 p.m. post at Churchill Downs as well. Everyone's all over the map with their post times. Gulfstream, though, they're not all over the map. They're going to run early, probably around 1, I think 1:05, 1:10, something like that. Everyone, check out racingdudes.com for all your content this week, this weekend. And then, we'll start to get into some Preakness stuff. The Magic Mike Show will have Anonymous Dan on today. We'll have him tomorrow at this time, 11 a.m. If you guys are interested, he's going to kind of tell us what he does in the industry, how he got started, all that type of stuff. And then he's going to preview Belmont. Hopefully we can cash and we could recap something as well. But that's going to do it for us. Nice, quick. We're going to get out of here. Only 45 minutes today. Definitely the shortest show that we've ever had. But we're busy. We got stuff to do, and we're not going to keep you guys forever. That's going to do it for Aaron and myself. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow at 11 a.m. Again, Belmont 3:05 post time starting today. Tomorrow they'll be back at 1:05 or 1:10 as well. So just keep that in mind. Everyone, we will see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, stay healthy, and everyone enjoy the rest of your Thursday afternoon. Take care, everyone.